What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Pod Gods. My name is Jake. I do video and photography, and I'm dressed up as Woody.
Good job, Jake. Hey guys, I am Brady Holland. I sell houses, and I'm dressed up as my own caddy. I even got my last name.
Let me see.
Right on the back there, huh? Huh? I used to wear this back in the good old golfing days, but
nice.
Those are long gone.
Oh.
But that's fine.
Not long
Jake,
gone.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I still golf, but not like I used to.
Yeah.
I mean, I could still play.
Yeah, you just won a tournament.
Yeah, that's true. I think Mike Wright needs to sponsor me, and I'll just go for the tour again. Shout out Mike Wright.
Cool.
I can't tell if he's got a hole in his sock, but he normally does right here.
No hole, but man, these boots have seen better days.
Anyway, we have a very special guest, someone that helped create my brand, helped Tyler create his brand. He is a producer. He's kind of all of everything. AJ Hofstetter. Welcome on to the Pod Gods.
Thank you very much.
And
The applause to you for pronouncing my last name correctly.
Say it again.
I had somebody on my golf team with the same exact last
there we
name
go.
in high school.
Nice.
So.
What is it?
And his
Pronounce
name
it
was
again?
AJ Hofstetter. Same
Hofstetter.
name.
Really?
Yeah, and it was Andrew for sure. Like that was
Really?
I was.
Wow. That's fantastic.
That's how I remember it. I
Wow.
guess.
Nice. Very good.
Crazy coincidence.
Shout out to him. He's now flying planes.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
I
say
think he got his
passed
flight
away.
license at like
He's-
18. Like
He's no longer with us.
no, that's
He's a pilot?
yeah, super cool guy. Wasn't really into
every
golf,
other
but
Andrew or AJ Hofstetter is doing a lot better than me. I
I don't know about
guys.
that.
Think so?
You're doing pretty good.
I'm doing all right, but I'm telling you, I meet these guys that I'm like, wow. I'm good friends with an Andrew Hofstetter in California, and I'm like, this guy is just everything.
Successful billionaire.
way
Yeah,
better
he's just
than
doing
me,
everything.
Well, thank you for coming on the Pod Gods today. I mean, you have so many different hats
Yeah.
you wear.
Yeah.
Let's let Jake ask the question he loves to ask.
So many, but let's start with your origin story. What do your parents do? Do you have siblings?
Yeah.
First job? How did school go when you were younger?
Yeah. Whew. Well, I grew up in a little town called Delightful, Ohio. Delightful.
Was it
It's like straight out of a book.
Well, in name only.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Or depending on the genre.
Yeah.
Right? So I grew up in Ohio, Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
I grew up, a mile down the road from Mike Tyson.
wow?
I lived 15 minutes away from Amish people. I lived 15 minutes away from gang violence and a half hour away from the DeBartolo family and mafia. And it was a weird place to grow up. Worlds colliding all the time, right? I went to a small farm community school, and I had a friend who dealt with gang violence in his school right down the road. So it was a really bizarre place, and I lived in this little place called Delightful.
Weird.
Grew up there. Grew up with two sisters. My parents, my dad, when I grew up, he was in the Air Force. And then
cool.
he went to law school when I was in high school. Ultimately arrived in information security, computer security for the Federal Energy Commission.
Okay. That's such a weird jump from.
Yeah.
Do
Air
those go
Force.
hand in hand?
Well, we assume that people in the Air Force do. So I think his job in the Air Force. He's probably going to watch this, and
Okay.
he'll correct me. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it was not anything exciting. We're talking about
okay.
contracting, and so it was not like. And by contract, I mean like writing contracts and sales and all that, procurement and stuff. So nothing.
okay.
He wasn't flying like an F-15.
He was not. But I did get to ride my bike around the air base a lot as a kid.
Oh, that's neat.
So
really
that was
cool.
fun. That's what
Yeah.
every kid wants. I used to
Yeah.
play in C-130s and all that kind of stuff when I was a kid. So it was pretty sweet.
Ever get to fly in one?
So what's that?
Did you ever get to fly in one?
No, but he did. He a bunch of his trips. He was over back and forth in the C-130.
Are those big cargo
Those are the
planes?
giant cargo ones, and he just is like, it's loud, it's uncomfortable. It's exactly what you think when you watch him fly over. You're like, whew, seems like a lot.
Picture like Maverick. I don't know why. Even though it's
movie?
not one of those. Yeah. There's a scene, or no, Mission Impossible when he's on
I
one of
was
those
like-
cargo planes. I was like, yeah, it doesn't look comfortable at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, I grew up there. Like I said, two sisters. It wasn't until later in my life that I found out I also have a brother.
Like half brother?
Half brother.
Yeah.
Yep. I found out when I was 33 that I have a brother.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But his name is Rob. But yeah, so that
Rob.
was the
Cool guy.
That was the. I actually don't know him very well.
Oh, okay.
Knew him a little bit. I got to know him a little bit. I found him through probably one of the most impressive pieces of investigation. I was cross-referencing adoption records with like medical records from certain hospitals on given dates, and I was doing research. It was impressive. It was yeah.
So you're a detective, long story short.
I was that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I went from not knowing he existed to 48 hours later having all his contact info.
Were you like
Weird.
looking to adopt, or like what was your?
Yeah, how did
looking?
you- how did
just
you
kind of
stumble?
in a moment of like, hey, FYI, we never told you this.
Oh.
But there's a brother. There's another one of you, and the process of finding him and everything, it was really interesting. Just kind of
gotcha.
the way that you can, the things that are available to you, and like it was like this was supposed to be a closed adoption. It's like that doesn't exist. I mean, information is out there.
Right.
It was a little troubling when you think about what I was able to find. I ended up getting access to Coast Guard contact info and stuff. He's in the Coast Guard. I reached out to the Coast Guard, talked to somebody who was like, I'm not allowed to tell you where he's at,
But here's his address.
but here's the ship I would call if I was looking for him.
Oh.
Wow.
I was like, your secret's safe with me until right now.
Yeah.
Until-
Wait till this gets tens of views.
Yes,
Yeah, right?
tens and tens of views. Yes. So no, that whole thing, and but yeah, so that was the
That's cool.
abbreviated
Though.
version.
Wow.
What about school? How is school like for you? Or
Yeah.
how old are you?
I'm 45 years old.
Okay.
Couldn't have guessed.
So,
No.
No.
Look great.
Like you said 33. I was like, oh, like a couple years ago. Like,
Yeah, no, 45. And the funny thing about age is I feel like when I was young, I was old. Like I didn't enjoy anything. I was just like, oh, I have to figure out my purpose in life. And I didn't enjoy anything because I was so intense. I was so philosophical. I was so burdened by this need to be somebody, to do something.
Made me think of Kamala.
And then I
We're burdened by the things, or what does she say?
how did you turn this political already?
Sorry, no. Do you know what I'm talking
No, by all
about?
means, let's get political. That's a great idea.
I've been burdened
I would
by
love to talk about politics.
No. Sorry. Do you know what I'm talking about, though? All right, keep going.
So
That's crazy.
you remind me. I'm trying to think who you remind me of. Yeah, that's
Kamala Harris,
Let's
that's
talk
it.
about politics.
No. I'm gonna say the quote, and you guys will be like, "Oh yeah."
You've lost both of us, I think, Jake.
I have no idea what I was even mentioning. We're talking about. Oh, so when I was young, I was old.
Yes.
Now I'm old, and I feel like I'm one of the more immature 45-year-olds that I'm.
So you're like
That I know.
reliving what you didn't
Yeah, maybe
have
I'm
when
just
you were
capturing the youth,
Yeah.
or maybe I'm just like maybe I just stopped suppressing the idiosyncrasies that I have, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. So when I was 18 years old, I moved to Minnesota for college.
Where'd you go?
Crown College, small private school out west of the cities. Went from there to got married young. I was 22 when I got married, and
That's almost too young.
then
Just kidding, Maddie.
I mean, if you want me to tell you if it's too young, I can let you know. I guess it depends on the 22-year-old. I will tell you,
Yeah.
I was a
That's
young
fair.
22-year-old, but in that, then my wife and I moved around a bit. We moved to Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Lived in Hawaii on the Big Island for a while. Moved to Fiji. Did some stuff
Whoa.
in Fiji. Moved to Oregon. Felt more out of place in Oregon than I ever felt in Fiji. What a weird
Really?
place Oregon is. Ended up here 17 years ago. Been living here ever since. So yeah, and went back to school. I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, something like that.
For what?
I have a master's degree in organizational leadership,
Okay.
but I never put my academic credentials anywhere except for two places. There's two places you'll see my academic credentials. One is on red Solo cups. If there's a Sharpie, I'll put AJ MA, or my nieces and nephews' birthday cards.
Yeah.
Uncle AJ MA.
Why do you do that?
Because I don't really care about
flex on
acting.
them.
Because I get flex.
Listen,
I'll be like,
dumb shit. I will always be above you.
You're an idiot.
yeah.
You go to Masters, didn't think so.
Didn't think so.
Eat it.
It's more just because I love to exploit and be irreverent toward things that others find value in.
Oh, okay.
And having been in higher education for as long as I was with, in various, I don't know, extensions of it, like with whether I was working in it or going to school or whatever, and just working so hard to find my purpose for so long and then realizing, oh, wait, it's all a facade. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And whatever, that I love to push buttons and be irreverent. And
I like that.
So that's the way I do it.
Have you've always been like that?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
What do you think brought that on?
I don't know if it's nature or nurture. Right? I don't know if because of the structure in which I grew up, it forced me to flex these muscles of you will not restrain me, or if I just always felt the restraint because of who I am. I'm not sure. But what I do know is I like I said, I'm 45 years old. It's probably been only the last 5 years of my life that I have begun to kind of embrace that and let it be who I am and be okay with it and temper it at times. Definitely there's times that I would, that sometimes I show wisdom and restraint and don't push against conventions, but many times I do. Yeah. And I'm okay with it.
Has it gotten you into trouble in the past? As a kid?
It got me in trouble as a kid.
Authority?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would just question authority constantly.
Right.
I remember one time I was probably 11, I'm guessing. And I decided, I was like, I'm going to see how long I can only say the word shut up in my home.
That's so risky.
And see how long I can go. And so my sister was like, hey, AJ, can you pass me the remote? And I was like, shut up.
It's a good start.
And she's like, seriously, I'm like, shut up. My other sister's like, what are you doing? I'm like, shut up. Dad, AJ keeps saying shut up.
Oh.
Dad's like, AJ, stop doing that. I go, shut up. He's like, what did you say to me? Shut up. I just kept going.
Yeah.
Kept going. And then finally, my dad's like in my face. And he's like, don't say it again. And I go, shut up.
Oh. He smack you?
Well,
close.
That's
another story.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
That's for the dark web. But yeah, I mean, there were those times that it was like, no, I want to push against these conventions, and now I do it, and I'll come into an organization, and tell them,
shut up.
Tell them their baby is ugly, and say it in ways that is like, I can't believe you just said that to me.
Yeah.
But somehow, okay.
Yeah.
So now I've learned to embrace it and channel it and
that's cool.
Make money off of it.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Your sisters are older or younger?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Youngest.
I'm
okay.
the youngest, yeah.
What do your sisters do?
My oldest sister, she works in production for GM.
Okay. Oh, okay.
In Ohio. And then my other sister, her husband, and she just moved to Ohio. He works with a company called Dealer Tire. And they do the tires for every dealership on every car or whatever. And he's head of sales or something. That dude is nuts. He was like a sniper in the Marine Corps. Oh, he's successful at absolutely everything he touches.
Yeah.
So
discipline.
And he inspired me. One day I was talking to my sister on the phone. Her name is Caroline. I was talking to Caroline on the phone, and she said, yeah, Paul decided to go for this other job. I'm like, why? Does he not like his job? She's like, no, he likes it. He's just going for something else. I'm like, you can do that? You could just do what you want? She's
confident.
Like, turns out, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's them.
I like that, that kind of attitude you have. What are your 5? Do you have any movies that impacted you a lot growing up where you're kind of pointed you in a different direction?
Yeah.
What are they? Just out of curiosity.
My big movies, Shawshank Redemption.
Great movie.
Huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I took my oldest daughter to Ohio this past spring to check out a couple different colleges, and we stopped at Shawshank Prison in Mansfield, Ohio.
Sweet.
And she was laughing at me because I just sat there and I looked at it and I just said, I miss my old pal Andy. But
Andy's right here.
so that's okay. Look at that.
Bottom of my shoe.
So that one is huge.
Yeah.
I think the get busy living, get busy dying message of that. There's a music that no one can take that's in here and here. You know, that message is huge. The movie Castaway.
Oh, that's another good one.
Tom Hanks. Movie Castaway is fantastic. I
is a good
love
movie.
the idea that he went from feeling hopeless
Yeah.
to being hopeless. And when he started to just
Ooh,
accept that he was
that's
hopeless, he made a life for himself. He learned to spearfish. He knocked his tooth out. He made
His
a way.
feet.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He made a way when he moved from feeling hopeless to being hopeless. He allowed hopelessness to not kill him, but to
Drive
he
him.
accepted it. I heard a thing once, Walter Mondale. I read this thing once where Walter Mondale said that in the prisoner of war camps, I think it was him, in the prisoner of war camps, the optimist died first. And the reason the optimist died is because they're like, we're going to get out before the rainy season. We're going to get out by the end of the rainy season. We won't be in here much longer. And eventually they just say, we can't keep it up anymore.
Yeah.
And then after the optimist, the pessimist died because they were always down in the dumps and always pessimistic and hopeless.
Yeah.
But the realists, they're the ones who made it because they said it's gonna suck until it doesn't. It's gonna be not great until it's great.
I feel like you go through stages too of being optimistic,
Yeah.
and then pessimistic, and then
Yeah,
realistic. You know what
That's
I mean?
that's a day for me. That's like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like 8 a.m. to
right?
noon.
That's
for
so
me.
real. Yeah,
Like, I was
seriously.
like,
That's awesome.
What's your mom do?
My mom, she was a stuck-at-home mom growing up, and a stay-at-home mom, but she wrangled me in a lot. Did that. She did a lot of different things growing up. She cleaned houses. She worked in this like the craft mill, and she like taught painting classes and stuff.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
Yeah.
So our whole house growing up, she's a painter.
Pasta noodle.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Necklaces.
Fruit
and-
Loop necklaces.
Yeah, yeah,
She's really
yeah.
good at those.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. We always laugh because like she would like have all these art projects she wouldn't finish, and she always loved to draw. Like she's super country, lots of farms, lots of that kind of stuff. But there was this table that we called the floating head table because it was like a painting of these Amish kids, but it was only their heads. Like she never got very far, so we just would use the floating head table for random family events.
Unfinished.
Everyone would come over for Memorial Day, and like the grapes and the plates would be on the floating head
Yeah.
table.
That's
And,
funny.
and she never did finish it. So yeah, she gave us the table, and
Sounds like me with books. I can never finish a book.
I think finishing a book is overrated.
Yeah.
Because
That's a take.
Yeah.
That is a take.
we love to. It's the same as education. Like, look what I did. I read all of these books. Like, did you change? Did you learn anything? Are you a better person now than you were before, or do you just really love to tell me that you finished a book?
Yeah.
And why is there value in finishing a book? Why not like suck the marrow from the bones of every morsel of wisdom in a book? Why do we try to get done with it?
Yeah.
If we're good with something, let's just stay on that thing until we're done with it, then move on to the next chapter. So don't
It's
worry
like
about
people with running marathons. It's like, are you running the marathon to tell me you
and
ran
then-
the
and
marathon?
you'll know that by whether or not they have the sticker on the back of their car.
Yeah, true.
What's your relationship with your parents like now?
Boy, we're going deep here. Holy
Yeah.
cow, guys.
It'll get better.
I hope so. No, it's good. My parents, I'm crazy about my parents. When I think about stories of overcoming, when I think about, there's a song that my dad liked growing up by a group called Mike and the Mechanics, and the song was called "In the Living Years," and it's an old school '80s song, whatever it is. But I just remember he always liked that song. But the first line of the book or of the song is "Every generation blames the one before."
That's so true.
And
It is.
and I remember that song playing when I was young, and as I've gotten older and gained perspective on life, beginning to appreciate rather than looking at things that I didn't have or that I don't have, looking at where we came from and what we overcame as a family. a history of tremendous tragedy growing up, and even before I was born. Before I was born, my mom, her story was just caked with tragedy. Her sister and brother-in-law and their 4 kids all died in a house fire. As I was growing up, my mom's mom died in a house fire. My mom's brother was shot and killed. It was just story after story,
fuck, dude?
tragedy after tragedy, and heartache after heartache. And you begin to define life by just kind of piecing together these seasons of conflict and difficulty and challenge. And then you get on the other side of it, and I am now. I mean, I have 4 kids. My kids are 17.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
How are we not touching that?
Because you just jumped right into my relationship with my parents.
Tell me about all the trauma.
So I got 4 kids. I have a 17-year-old daughter named Ava. I have a 14-year-old daughter named Sage, and then I have twins that are 8.
That's awesome.
Beckett and Presley, boy-girl twins. And when I think about the fact that, like, my harshest criticisms from my dad growing up happened when he was younger than I am right now. And when I realize how much I don't have together and how much I don't know what I'm doing, I realize every generation blames the one before. But to really appreciate what we've overcome, to really appreciate how hard we've worked, I had the privilege a couple months ago of flying out with my boy Beck, and I flew out to Ohio and surprised my parents for a 50th wedding anniversary party.
Oh, that's cool.
They've been married 50 years.
That's crazy.
Pushed through just a whole bunch and pushed through it and persevered and made an impact. And so I was able to go out there and celebrate with them and do that with them. It was a cool thing to see what my mom has overcome in her life, to see my dad, what he's overcome and what he's pushed through to try to make a life for us. And so
I feel like that's so rare these days.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people give up on relationships so easily, and social media doesn't make it any easier.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast. Was it Andrew Huberman? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was listening to him, and he had Esther Perel on. He's a relationship expert, and she was talking about how if you get married in your early 20s, which is way too young to get married.
Way too young.
Way too young. Only a fool. No, so you get married in your early 20s. By the time you reach your mid 40s, the person you're married to is a completely different human being, chemically, everything.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, oh, you've really changed a lot. Like, no, it's actually a different person. And there's a difference between these relationships of, like, a capstone relationship is like a relationship that benefits your life, that goes alongside your life. A cornerstone relationship is one of these, it's like, no, I need you to live or whatever. And a lot of times the disadvantage of getting married very young is that it's this cornerstone relationship. I'm building everything on this. I don't know who I am yet. You're going to help me define who I am.
Yeah.
Now, if you fall apart, I fall apart and whatever. And then when you see these couples who do stay together and they're together for 50 years, 60 years, you're talking about they lived with different people, the same person, but different people, and they adapted their lives over decades to different people that they were and that they were living with. It's quite an accomplishment. It's a lot more than just sticking it through. You really have to adapt and change alongside those people.
I worked at a nursing home, and we would have a couple that would go into the nursing home same time. They'd share a room sometimes, and a lot of times, if one of them died, the other one would die like a month later.
Right.
Because they had been, they had been married since they were like 17.
Right. And now they're 92.
Yeah. And it's like, they were, a lot of times they were like, the man would just hate his wife. Like, or vice versa. It's like, they've just gotten used to being miserable, and that's just how life was. But a lot of times, if one would die, the other would die.
Yeah, like before she died, he was like, "Where's my tray?
Yeah.
Get my tray." And then she's gone. It's like, I don't know who I am anymore.
It wasn't like
I don't know what to do. I don't know where my tray is.
I also saw times where, like, the woman or the man died, and then the partner would, like, thrive after, because their whole life would be like taking care of this person.
Oh, sure.
And then when they die, it's like, then they start living and enjoying life, and it's like, man, it's crazy.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How is it having twins?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, they were a surprise pregnancy, bonus baby that turned into babies. My wife and I were just talking about them last night because we never planned for them in a million years. Like, if we hadn't had them, we would be 4 years away from being empty nesters. But as it is, I'm never going to be alone, ever. But no,
is that good or bad? I can't tell with your tone. Like you're like,
I can't either.
It's forever gonna be.
I can't tell with my tone either. But no, the reality is that they were the best surprise that we've ever had.
Yeah.
The funny parts of recognizing though, like if you ever talk to like parents of multiples, and the challenge. One day we were at Canal Park Brewing. We're on our way up to our cabin. And we stopped, and the twins were just little at the time. They were in like high chairs. And this mom walked by, and she had twins with her, and her twins were probably 8. And she said, I just want to tell you guys are doing great. You're going to be just fine. And we're like, oh, thank you. Don't leave.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there was this like empathy among parents of multiples. It's insane. I mean, we have friends who have 2 sets of twins. They have 4 kids. And like 4 girls
so
and
brutal.
2 sets of twins. It's just, yeah.
It's exactly what's going to happen to me.
To you, yeah. It's so crazy.
I think we're going to have triplets.
Like just
maybe.
Because my fiance's mom's a twin. My grandpa's a twin.
Oh.
I was a twin. She has cousins that are twins. I have cousins
You're
that are
screwed.
like, we're just going to have twins.
Yeah.
And I only want 2 babies. She wants, if it was up to her, she'd had 5. But.
Oh. The
quintuplets.
Yeah. We only have 1 kid, and we tried watching my son's cousin because we're going to potty train them both and just daycare. It's so crazy going from 1 kid to 2 kids. It's like infinitely more difficult.
It's more than
just
double the work.
It's weird.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is having a boy in a house full of girls. Like I have 1 son and 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And he just...
Poor guy.
Well, it's so funny. Like, you never have to train. Like, you never have to teach a boy to throw a rock into the Grand Canyon. He just knows that's what he's supposed to do, right? You have to teach a boy to throw rocks in the lake or anything like that. It's just... And you also never have to teach a boy to annoy his sisters.
Yeah.
Just like the one who said, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Just like, I wonder how far I can push this thing. Like, he just loves just to push.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't touch you.
I was gonna ask that too. Do you see a lot of yourself in any of your kids? Where you're like any red flags? Were like, oh gosh, that was like, really?
That's way too close to home.
Yeah. Absolutely. My oldest daughter, I send her all kinds of stuff about ADHD and like funny videos because she and I are a lot alike with that stuff, and we get along great. Like we road tripped, like I said, we road tripped to Ohio together, and we had a fantastic time.
That's awesome.
We just great relationship. She passed me up a while ago, and she just keeps going. She's great, but she and I, like I have to kind of translate her to my wife a lot. And I'm like, no, she didn't leave that out because she doesn't respect you,
right?
She left that out because she has no clue that she left it out.
Yeah.
The other day, I sent her a picture of an apple with a bite out of it. And then she just texted back, I was wondering where my breakfast went. Like she just walked out with I took a bite, left for school.
Yeah.
So I just leave that here.
Totally oblivious.
Well, yeah, what do you do?
Exactly.
He's going to reset that camera.
Yeah.
I think he'd fix that,
It's unfixable, unfortunately.
Been doing this for a year and a half.
That's what you're looking for in a tech guy.
Yeah. You know how to work that.
Me?
Do you have questions?
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of questions for sure. Well, your wife. We haven't talked about your wife.
Yeah.
And then we'll step away from family. I just want to hear a little bit more about your wife.
Yeah, my wife, her name is Rachel.
Shout out Rachel. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. She's a fantastic human being. She is a musician, singer-songwriter.
Oh, wow.
And very, very, very talented songwriter and singer, obviously. But her music is beautiful. It's really fun to see her do that. She has very few opportunities to do it in the midst of being a engaged mom and all stuff. But she is on staff at Eaglebrook Church here in the Twin Cities. So she sings for Eaglebrook. She has a couple albums that she's worked on and a bunch of songs she's written. And so she has been, so she does that. And she's also an event planner. and she's doing a wedding next weekend. Yeah, next weekend.
Is she a wedding planner?
She is a wedding planner.
Licensed?
Not a licensed wedding planner.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, because that's what I'm running into with my wedding. I have to have a licensed.
Oh, because the venue requires it.
Because the venue requires it. The venue that the wedding planner they recommended was $10,000 for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said I am not doing.
Well, that's exactly it. And then my wife would say yeah, sure, for $2,500 we can get it all done.
Yeah.
And it's well, no, but you can't at our venue. You have to have a license. Yeah, no. So she just kind of does it. She's an event planner.
I'm trying to find somebody.
She does a bunch of weddings,
blow my brains out. I'm like, I just need somebody to move some chairs.
Yeah. Right.
So anybody that's a wedding planner,
professional chair movers, anybody.
My wife is a logistics person, right? So she's very organized, and she
type A kind of.
Yeah. And yet she's an artist, so it's a really unique blend.
That is weird.
How did you meet her?
Blind date.
Oh,
wow. Who set you up?
It's kind of funny. A friend of ours, her name is Carla.
Great name. That's my mom's name.
So she set us up because she was interested in getting set up with another guy, and so it was like, hey, you set me up on a date, I'll set you up on a date type thing. And she set her up with the wrong. She wanted to be set up with this guy named Seth, and they set her up with the wrong Seth.
Oh.
And I was like, so
it's the worst.
It was kind of funny, but it worked for me.
Yeah.
Worked out well. So that was in 2000 that we got set up.
Wow.
Whoa.
No. It was 99. Because then I went from that to I celebrated Y2K at Times Square.
Okay, he doesn't know, cool. But what was your thought process
going into Y2K?
Were you scared?
I was not. I was wondering if my 1989 Chevy Celebrity would stop working because the way they made it sound, it was like planes will fall from the sky.
Right? Yeah.
They really talked it up.
They did.
It's similar to the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Where they just are this is the storm.
Like the hurricane
of the century. Prepare yourself. And then everyone's like, wait, was that the thing you were just talking about? Yeah.
And which time zone are we supposed to be afraid of?
Yeah, that's just it, right? So
because they made a big thing about it was like the numbers on the year will flip to zero.
So it's losing
on
the first two.
Or whatever.
It was so dumb. But so I went to Times Square for that. I was like, I'm gonna go where it all goes down. I'm gonna die. Die with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So did that, and then so she and I got married in 2001.
Wow.
And
You guys coming up on your 25th soon.
24th is next year. Yeah. So
wow.
Yep.
What's the exact date?
July 28th.
Put you to the test.
July 28th, 2001.
Okay. Check one time.
Check.
All right, we're good.
Nothing's changed.
No, I know, but I was like, did I?
What he does.
I was thinking, I don't know.
You want me to turn it off?
No, you're good. Yeah, it should be on, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to mess with yourself.
Oh, okay.
I was like, whoa.
I was like, is this me? Am I tripping?
What's no longer right Kamala, he is Joe Biden.
Yeah. Okay, I found the quote that everybody memes. Burdened by what has been. I've been unburdened by what has been. That's like her common catchphrase that she starts interviews with. Anyways.
Wow, that was an anticlimactic callback.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'll put a laugh track
I just put the
audience loved it.
The curve music. Yeah. I want to talk about the national holiday today. This is something we do on every episode because every day there's some national holiday.
There is 5
different holidays.
Today is National Candy Corn Day.
Ugh.
It's fitting. Yeah. It's fitting.
A day I would never.
Yeah.
Is
there another one?
I could.
Is that the only one? That's fitting. It's Halloween tomorrow, and
there was a National Wicked Day. You know the play Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with the first one.
There's not a whole lot of.
Yeah.
Speak Up for Service Day.
Okay, that's cool.
And that's all we got.
That's fine.
I mean, tomorrow's a big day. It's Halloween.
Halloween, that is a big day.
It's very exciting.
Actual Halloween, yeah.
Yeah, actual.
Yeah, are you guys doing anything? Your kids trick-or-treating?
Lord willing, it's really cold, so I don't have to. No, we'll trick-or-treat.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
so much fun.
But it's getting to be it's so frustrating because it's been so warm this week.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at tomorrow, and my daughter Presley got her Dorothy costume.
Oh.
But she's gonna have to put on a parka or like a big old snowsuit over. It's gonna be so cold.
There's a chance of snow.
So it's like, is there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like maybe a few flurries or something.
But,
like Duluth is supposed to get like 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah. Wow. So it's just kind of like
not
it's
like
really
91
too bad.
Though.
So yeah. So we'll just do the trick or treating thing.
Yeah.
The older two, my middle child, she'll go with her friends trick or treating. She's in 8th grade, so she's at that stage where it's like. House, go.
Candy.
I was like, as long as I get some dots, that's all I care about.
Yeah. Oh,
Dots.
you're a dots guy?
I am.
That's crazy. That
Serial
was one
killer.
of the questions. What's your favorite candy?
Yeah, dots is your favorite?
Probably.
Wow.
How about you?
It's like chocolate wise, maybe like Twix. Twix is a good choice.
Twix is a great choice.
As far as like sugary,
Snickers? You like Snickers
I like
and Twix?
frozen Snickers.
Snickers and Twix?
Yeah, Snickers is okay, but I grew up on Snickers.
Those
but
are my
Skittles
cats.
are great.
Those are my cats' names. Snickers and
oh
Twix.
yeah, nerd clusters.
You're obsessed
That's my
with
cat's
those.
name. That's so weird.
Nerd clusters.
Come here, nerd clusters.
Yeah.
Come here. Who's a good girl?
That actually, yeah.
Dude, Mike and Ike's.
Yeah, Mike and Ike's are good too. Yeah, those are good.
I like Mike and Ike's.
I like
Crunch?
Swedish fish. Swedish fish are where it's at too. I like
Swedish
dots
fish
or
are
Swedish fish.
Okay.
I do enjoy a Crunch bar though.
Oh, Crunch! Wow, I forgot about those.
Those are good.
Those were good.
Let's see. I don't like any of these right now. You get 3 items to bring on an island. What are you bringing?
Physician's desk reference, hollowed out, inside, matches, a knife. Just kidding.
What is that from?
A Dwight shirt.
Yeah,
Okay, I was like, that sounds so familiar.
You've never watched it, huh? Have you?
I've seen all the seasons, but that was a while ago.
Yeah. I have no idea. That's a good question. Obviously you're gonna. I mean, are we going like practicality so I survive?
Yeah.
Because like we could do a shout out and call back to Castaway. I'm like, what? Bring ice skates and videotapes.
Yeah.
And what else did he have? I don't know what else he had. A pocket watch with his
boat.
A pocket watch with his fiance's picture in it.
Yeah.
But no, I would. You're gonna go with like not just like a knife. I do like a Leatherman, so I have like multiple
maybe?
things. And maybe a hatchet and
Assume water's already there and you can hunt.
Yeah. That makes that makes it easier.
Yeah.
When we were in Fiji, so my wife and I were in Fiji for a while. We were on BBC. We were stranded on an island. A cyclone hit, and we got stranded on this island. There's 2 stories from Fiji that were crazy. They happened within like 12 hours of each other. The night before the cyclone hit, all the guys were going out spearfishing, like at night. In the ocean.
Seems not very smart.
Well, these Fijian men are just tough as nails. They can go underwater for 5 minutes at a time because their lungs are so used to it, right? Weird. Well, like my guy, Save, the guy that I was partnered with, he like jumps and he's like, let's go. And he goes out in the water. I'm in the middle of the Pacific and it's like 10 at night. And
you don't want to be the pussy white guy who's like, this doesn't seem very safe,
you
guys.
Hey guys, do we have a safety officer on board?
Yeah. Life jackets, everybody.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out the alternative to that in my world was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to do this. Like, I jumped in the boat. I got scared.
I don't blame you.
I got scared. I didn't do it.
Pitch black.
But
scary.
Pitch black.
Terrified.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Pacific.
Oh. With a cyclone on the way.
Yeah, and we didn't necessarily know the cyclone was on the way. It was a little bit. They knew, the Fijian men knew because the Fijian people, because they're used to the weather and but we didn't know what it was going to be. So I like kind of walked away defeated.
Yeah.
Tail between your legs.
Yeah, a little bit of like these Fijian men like embody manhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys want me to just like, I don't know, you want me to make you some sandwiches or something?
Do you guys have an iPhone charger?
Yeah. Exactly. I don't like it when my feet are wet.
What's the
Wi-Fi? Next morning, cyclone came in and I had more moments in this half-hour portion of my life to validate that life is more than a spearfishing excursion on a Thursday night. Holy cow. I swam out into the Pacific and I grabbed this boat and I pulled it from hitting a wall. And then it was like we had to like rescue this boat. And I was sprinting down
You redeemed yourself?
Oh.
Yeah.
It was one of the most like true badassery. I mean, it was this moment of just like, that was amazing.
It's like a movie.
It really was.
Yeah.
Like there was one moment where like these two boats were going to collide and I was in between them in the water. And like, and the one guy's like, dive, dive, dive. So I went straight down, diving deep as I could go, so I didn't get hit by these boats, and I felt them right behind me. I would have been just smushed.
Yeah.
And we just, I mean, it was insane.
I would have loved it if you like plugged your nose as you went down like a little kid. Yeah.
And then we got the boat secured, everything was fine, and then the storm passed, and we helped clean up the village from all the damage. And then, man, the fish that came in from the storm and everything, we were pulling in red snappers.
Oh, that's cool.
We were pulling in red snappers that were like this long. And
wow.
Pulled in lobster and ate sea turtle and all kinds
How
of stuff.
was that, sea turtle?
My wife says it tastes like bad breath. So I just felt like it tased like chicken, which sounds so cliche.
Did it have
but
like a fishy?
Yeah, I don't. Really, I just remember it. It just kind of reminded me of like a frog, like if you've had frog legs or if you've had things like that.
Yeah,
it's a little gamey maybe, but more like chicken than it is like fish. And so.
Why did you move to Fiji?
We were doing the mission work, my wife and I were.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we did. It's like three months or something there.
That'd be so sick.
That would be.
It was bonkers. We had all kinds of weird stories from them.
I got more questions. Don't worry. If you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be?
I've never.
That's a tough question.
It's a in-depth one.
Yeah, that's
like a false rumor.
Yeah.
Or any rumor.
Any rumor.
Biggest dick ever.
Yeah, right?
I have gills. I can breathe underwater.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it would probably be something a little bit more
He's like psychic.
Nonsensical.
Yeah.
You know, something that would just make someone say, like, are you kidding me right now?
A sixth toe, a third nipple.
Yeah. You ever seen a foot with 6 toes? You know, something like that.
I have a nipple on my kneecap.
Yeah. Something like that. I have an uncle with the last name Nipple.
Really?
Yeah, that's not a rumor.
How did that? Same spelling?
Same traditional spelling.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Traditional. I love that. If you could master any language, what would it be?
I really would love to master Spanish.
Yeah.
I just would. When I'm immersed in a Spanish speaking culture, I do okay.
Yeah.
And I think the little Spanish I speak, I do with very little accent. And then people think I can speak Spanish because they're like, wow, that guy really asked for water well. Like there was no accent
local.
there. He must be local. And then they're like,
por favor.
Por favor. Lento.
What about you?
For me, I would say probably English. I feel like I haven't mastered it.
English is a hard one.
It is.
It is a hard one.
You know, I lost that listing appointment because I said me and my fiance instead of my fiance and I.
Yeah.
Did you really lose a listing appointment?
That's what she told me, yeah. I was going up against 8 other agents. She said, your presentation was great. You put in the most work. You did amazing. It's just your grammar wasn't up to my standards.
I would contend that is not someone you would want to work with.
That's what I was saying.
That's exactly.
Because
but still crazy. Now I really make sure I say my fiance.
So but there's a way to say it, depending on the context. Because the way to know is you remove the other person, and you just say I or me, and then that's how you know if it was right. Are you going to come with my fiance and I to the mall? Take my fiance and away. Are you going to come with I to the mall? That's wrong. It's me. Are you going to come with my fiance and me to the mall?
How did you say it?
Me and my fiance.
But like in full.
So you put yourself first?
Yeah.
So she probably just hated you because you're
sexist pig.
Sexist bastard.
Misogynist.
Probably. She was like 75.
I don't know how that makes her.
She was a professor.
Okay.
Yeah, liberal arts.
Professor
Her doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter what her job does. So, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So she just
never
said
had
it
a
was,
chance.
She said it was nails on a chalkboard when I said that. I said, ouch.
Yeah,
Be like, that ain't true.
That's
being
not true.
dramatic.
Shut up, Jake.
So many alarms set.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should be better at English, but realistically, like, I don't know. Spanish would be the best one.
Yeah,
there's
most
so many
used.
opportunities in real estate if I could speak Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
But I've also always thought, though, like, It would just be so much better if I could speak French because it just sounds so cool.
So
It
much
does.
sexier.
You know, I could ask you for like directions to the nearest gas station and be like, man, that guy's so romantic.
Yeah.
You know?
Just girls.
That guy-
All
that
I
guy
know,
turned
the
me
only thing
on.
I know in French is
Yeah, or
That's all I know.
baguette,
Baguette.
French fries.
Gerald Depardieu. Yeah.
How about you, Jake? What would yours be?
I mean, my fiance's Hmong, so probably Hmong, so I can just talk shit with her family.
That's
Or understand if they're talking shit about me.
they definitely are.
100%.
I went to college with a bunch of Hmong kids, and they taught me some random things. And I remember this one girl, Sarah, her sister had a white guy who was really into her and was trying to impress her by speaking Hmong to her. But it's a very tonal language, right? I mean, it's like, like you could say like, Gunya ka or Gunya ka, and it's like, whoa. Like
different
one says
volume,
like,
and it's a lot of like
one says I
sing-talking.
like you, one says I'm going to kidnap you.
Yeah.
And he said I'm going to kidnap you instead of I like you or
I think
something.
that's
like
how
that.
they actually.
And so he went up to her and he said,
Yeah.
like, I'm going to take you or whatever. I'm going to kidnap you or whatever. And she was like, oh, I don't think that means what you think it
I
means.
love that.
She's like, you keep on using
She's
that
a
word.
freak.
I do not think it means what you think it means. Yeah.
Make me beg
Very
for my
tonal,
life.
Though, very.
Yeah, it's listening to them talk. It's like, I don't. It's yeah.
Yeah. I know. I remember the word "me," which is like noodles.
I know like Mika. It's like white. It's like when they call white people. It's
Mika.
yeah. There's like nicknames and different slang. Then there's
so that's
like
they like
there's
just
like-
say like I hate
Because there's
the
like
white
green
guy.
Hmong and there's different language.
yeah. There's green. There's there's like 3 different categories. One's like a ghetto.
Yeah,
like
like
Hmong.
pigeon, like speaking pigeon.
Yeah, and the other one's
Yeah.
like there's just different versions of it. But
Interesting.
I feel like you should know a little bit more.
I understand, like when Jean talks to Felix, she'll say something to Felix, and I know like, he's gonna come give me a hug right now because it's time for like she'll say like, go give your dad a hug.
Guy
Got
counting
it.
and stuff, and
The what?
Guy Q's counting. Who's that one guy? That was
Oh,
counting?
Goku.
Goku
from
yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I don't. You probably never. Yeah, it's TV show, cartoon. I grew up on.
Anime you grew up on. Do you have any hidden talents?
I can climb a palm tree, a coconut tree,
That's
Well,
pretty
that
good.
is pretty
all
cool.
the way to the top, buddy. I was the first white man the Fijian people had ever seen do it.
Really?
I was like 60 feet in the air,
That's scary.
That's
getting
terrifying.
food. We were hungry.
Yeah,
Coconuts
all
or
the way
what?
up there. I can do that.
like Castaway.
That
Yep.
is like Castaway.
Yeah,
You
I can
love
do that.
Castaway.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Apparently.
That's been brought up a lot.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like Fight Club. Have you seen Fight Club?
Yeah, I love Fight Club.
Fight Club or like V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you would love that movie.
But I do love Good Will Hunting.
That's a great.
That is a good movie.
I love Good Will Hunting. I love that movie.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I've not seen Wolf of Wall Street.
What?
Really?
Great movie.
It's a
also.
long movie, though.
It is.
It's always
Yeah.
way
3
longer than I
hours.
think.
I stick with what I know. You know what I mean? I don't. You know.
Go back and rewatch.
I'll rewatch all day
okay,
long.
sure.
And and then I just go back to Nacho Libre
Yeah,
and
it's a
Princess
classic.
Bride.
Those are really
You
good.
know, those are all day long.
Yeah.
I could just.
I have some movies like that.
Yeah.
Let's can we touch on or can you talk
Numbers?
about your documentary?
What's that?
Numbers? Is your number?
You want my phone number?
No. Numbers is not always enough. Can we talk about your documentary?
Oh, that was
Enough is not a
nice.
number.
Enough is not a number.
Yeah. Currently filming a documentary for one of my clients. His name is Fred Martin, and Fred is investment genius, portfolio manager. Has built for himself a fortune beyond what we would ever imagine. He's very humble about it, and also very aware that he's small potatoes compared to a lot of guys out there. But I mean, we're more money than you could imagine, and coming to the realization that enough is not a number. There's no amount of money you can get to that will provide what the human soul is really hungry for. And some of the things he talks about are like the myth of the golden years. We live this way in our culture. We train people to think this way. Financial advisors coach people this way. Retire. And he's like, I'm 78 years old. All my friends are dying or sick. I'm more sore than I've ever been. and I waited to live till now. The myth of the golden years,
right?
And it's just telling his story, and it's telling the story of the lessons he's learned along the way. That, money can solve problems for you. He has earned the right to not be inconvenienced in life, right? It solves problems, it does, but it does not remove problems, and it does not remove all problems. And so it's his story. That's his story. And so working on that, and he's got a whole organization called Objective Measure that's helping people move forward in financial literacy.
Cool.
Helping them access the kind of understanding in finances and investing that gives them access to a more enriched life. It's not about being rich, he says, it's about living an enriched life. So helping to position his products and his voice in getting people to view themselves as investors, to start thinking this way and to make better choices with the future in mind. So
how did you find that guy?
Just through networks, right? I don't really do any. I have a website. I don't really point people to it very often. I don't do a lot of marketing of myself, but I'm always busy.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time just with people, and so a good friend of mine connected me with him, and we did work with him together for a while, and so that's how that happened. And it's been fun. But in many ways, we're just getting started. I've been working with them for probably 6 years now, but reality is just getting started with a lot of the stuff that we're going to be doing together. But I have my own, I'm an independent contractor helping people. You mentioned it earlier on, helping people understand who they are. I wrote a book called Take Time to Be Brief. And the idea here is it's just exploring the art of being heard. Effective communication isn't about saying what you need to say. It's about saying what they need to hear. And if you're not willing to put in the work to know what they need to hear, then you're not going to be an effective communicator, right? And that's what I do. That's what I'm doing with the documentary and with the products that Fred is building, and among other clients.
It's crazy because I had a 45-minute conversation with you at a coffee shop.
Yep.
It's the first time I've really ever talked to you one-on-one.
Grab my water.
And a week goes by, maybe a week and a half, and you give me kind of exactly what my brand is.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind away. I was like, this is exactly
right.
what it is. And I know you've done that for other people like Tyler.
Yeah.
Who you work with matters, right?
Yeah.
Helping him with that. And it's like, what does that process look like? We have a 45-minute conversation. You come back to me and you're like, hey, you're talking about creating a story over than just creating a sale. And it's just like,
stories over sales.
That's it.
Yeah. We found it.
Yeah. How did you what does that process even look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I ran into you the other day, you and your bride to be, and we were talking about it, and you said, this is the guy who worked magic or whatever. And I was like, no, you said it.
Yeah.
You said it. I didn't say it. You said it. I just heard it. And the process of hearing somebody, this is why when I do work with clients, with people, I don't work hourly. Because here's the problem with working hourly. If you were paying me hourly to do that for you, we're sitting down for coffee, and let's say we spend the first half hour kind of shooting the breeze about life. And you're like, wait, I paid hourly. Did I pay him for that half hour? Wait a minute, how's that work? And I covered coffee too. This is really costing me a lot, whatever, right?
Yeah.
People start counting minutes, but a lot of times the gold is in the informal times, in the unconventional ways of asking a question, or ways that it looks like I'm just asking something because I'm curious or it's random, when it really points me to what kind of person is this?
Yeah.
How would he define success? If it was offered to him, if I could say, you can be successful and you get to decide what that looks like, and finding ways to ask that question so that basically it's my job to extract the value as I see it and just to remove the clutter that is getting in the way of it. Right. So really it's required that I develop my ability to listen, to know what I'm looking for, to know how to identify when someone has kind of come alive with something. The process is, for me, I usually know within 15 minutes of talking to someone where it's generally going to go.
Yeah.
And then I just need to formalize it, articulate it, systematize it so that they have the building blocks that they need to take what I give them and go build a website, go run their social media, go create a logo, go whatever. And some people listen and some people don't.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
It is. I called my wife once after a meeting and I was like, I just need to vent. And she'll like, go, and I'm losing my mind. And I'm just like, I'm so tired of
keep going.
I'm tired of people driving in the slow lane and complaining that everyone's passing them. It's like, don't come to me and complain that people are passing you. When you're not interested in moving faster.
You're hitting the brakes.
Tell me, and also don't come to me with solutions. Don't come to me and say, I need a logo. It's like, no, you don't need a logo. You need clarity on who you are. People say, I need a tagline. It's like, well, maybe. But the number of organizations and companies who have a tagline that lasts more than a couple of years is very few.
Subway.
That's that's just it. It's like you end up with, it's kind of luck of the draw. Like just do it. Everyone wants their tagline that'll go for decades. It's like maybe, but McDonald's used to be this, and then it's this, and it's this, and they transition,
grow.
You grow, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing when people like I do a couple people's like social media management video stuff.
Yeah,
and I'll tell them like post at this time on this day every week.
Yeah.
And then they just will totally disregard and post a video that I made for them
at 9 p.m.
At like 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night. And then they'll come back to me a couple days later and be like, I just didn't get the engagement that I wanted on a video that I posted when everybody's asleep. And then by the time everybody wakes up, it's at the bottom of their feed. They don't see it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Really, that's where you just kind of find the things that produce life and you extract as much as you can from it so that all the other people don't drive you nuts, right? You're like, it's fun when they listen.
It drives, it's annoying because like, and then there will be times where I'll get a client and they'll be like really inspired and motivated and to start this weekly video that they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that lasts 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I got to take a week off. I'm going to be, and they don't.
A lot of the work that I do with people is to give them frameworks that make that easier so that they can start experiencing the benefits of some wins. So get some reps under their belt and they could say, wait, this isn't as intimidating as I thought. We've talked before about like the 4 I's of communication, right? So everything you communicate does one of 4 things. Either informs people about what you do or your industry. It introduces people to who you are in your industry. It invites people to be part of what you're doing, or it includes them in what you're doing. So when I'm helping people, like I help them figure out who they are, and not who they are, like a real estate. Oh, you're a realtor. It's like, okay, but maybe, but that's broad. That's broad.
Yeah.
Like, who are you reaching? Who are you targeting? Whatever, and finding a way to say that, like stories over sales, and people who are upgrading their life, and people who didn't think this was accessible to them, and now they're finding access into a life they didn't know they could have, and whatever. Well, now, what does it mean to inform those people, about what they need to know? What does it mean to introduce yourself to them? How do they need you to introduce yourself so that they notice you? What do you need to invite them to, whether it's to follow you or to join you in a thing or to download a thing or whatever? What can you include them in? And that now you give people that framework, for instance, and then they're suddenly able to say, oh, I can come up with a month of content like that. Because now I'm not just like, what do I post on Wednesday? I don't know what I should do.
Like they look at it like this big mountain versus just the first few steps.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And now you're like, and I know I'm saying this, and I know I got to do these 4 things. And once a week I get to do like something, like there's this outlier of the eyes and it's inspire. I get to just share something That's who I am, reflective of me, totally organic, and I get to do that. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to do that, then you find a meme, you find something else, right? But it lets you paint outside the lines a little bit, but still staying on brand. But not everything has to have this agenda attached to it.
Right.
And so it gives people flexibility and hope and freedom in their own content. So it takes away what I call the burden of content.
Have you ever found that, like, a lot of times people get caught in perfection? Like they have, how am I supposed, like,
you can do it. I believe in you.
Like they're too worried about perfection that it stops them from making any progress.
Oh, dude, all day long.
Okay.
Because there's this axiom in business, and it comes from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. It says, good is the enemy of great.
I'm just going to write that down.
And it's like, that's true, but great is the enemy of something. And so few of us are willing to do something because if it's not perfect.
Right.
It's like, just get out there. I have a principle that I teach to my clients and that I work within, and it's called the law of inevitable disappointment. If you and I are going to work together, here's the thing that you need to know about me. I'm a human being. I will let you down. You're a human being. You will let me down. If we can establish, the way we deal with that letdown that's going to happen then is determined now. What we believe to be true about one another, what we believe to be most important. I want to keep you intact. I want to see you succeed. I'm going to be honest, whatever, right? But this law of inevitable disappointment is there, and it happens. What people end up doing is they get so worried about being perfect that they don't do anything at all. Like, good might be the enemy of great, but great is certainly the enemy of something. And sometimes you need to do something.
Yeah.
And that's not a justification for crappy work. That's not a justification for mediocrity. If you can make it better, then you should. But there is a line, and we all know when we're in it, of you are just micromanaging this, and you're turning down potential business because the phrasing is wrong on this piece, or you don't have the perfect tagline. And it's like, you need to just go live and do some stuff and get some reps under your belt, because you got a prototype. You have to prototype if you're ever going to be able to perfect this thing.
Well, the worst too is, like, I'll be doing weekly stuff with a client, and it's like, we just need to put stuff out. Like, the quality should be good, but if you make a post that's like not perfect, and it's like, let's keep moving. Like,
if you can avoid like some really like toxic topics, and if you maybe don't bring up politics.
Right.
Jake.
Palestine, Israel, what do we got?
Who's in? Who wants to define marriage?
Right?
How many gender? No.
No, it's like, come on. Like, just put some out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
What's your greatest achievement?
Whew.
Can't say kids.
No, they're not. I wouldn't have. Just kidding. Sort of. My greatest achievement.
It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I could tell you about one of my most rewarding moments of my life.
I like that.
There was a moment at a job where this woman walked into this boardroom, this conference room that I was in, and she was stressed out to no end because she was in the United States from Singapore, in the United States on a student visa, and needed to start classes for her master's program within a certain amount of time, or she was going to have to leave the United States. She was getting her master's degree so she could start a college back in Singapore. Okay, so this was all really important. She found out that the school she was going to go to wasn't, or they neglected to tell her that she had to finish these requirements for English as a second language, and they neglected to tell her that she hadn't done that and that it was required for her to be accepted. Classes started on Tuesday. This was on a Friday, and she found out. And the process takes 6 weeks, and she's going to have to leave the United States. I was like, wow, that's really frustrating. What school is it? She told me. Okay, well, I know this person, and I know that this person is married to that person who's the head of master's programs at that school. That was down in Dallas, and this was up here in Minneapolis. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm really sorry to hear that. She left the room. I made a call. I was like, I got a problem. I was like, and this woman speaks better English than you and I do. She speaks like 5 languages, and she speaks formal English. She understands I before E, except after C. And sounds fired. Like an A as in neighbor and way. Weekends and holidays and all throughout May. That's Brian Regan, shout out. And I called her. She's like, I'll take care of it. She called her husband. The school calls this girl and says, class will start on Tuesday. Requirements have been waived.
Wow.
And to my knowledge, she never found out it was me. And I didn't want her to. It was so fun to be part of something where someone with a need was able to be connected with somebody with a resource. And I just got to be the conduit for that. And doing that is what I love to do. It's why I'm a producer. It's why I like even the documentary. Like I don't have credentials to do a documentary, but I have a whole bunch of people with credentials to do a documentary that I'm like, hey, people smarter than me, go do what you do, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's just a matter of making up as I go along and aligning with people who are smarter than me to help me move ahead. You know?
That's awesome.
Did she create the college?
She did. Yeah, she's running the school right now.
Wow. You created a college in Singapore?
I did not. She did.
You helped?
I was really part of it. I was a conduit, and it's so fun. I don't even want to be there. Like, I don't want my name and lights for that. It's so fun to see other people do it, right? It's like, it's so cool to see that, you know? Instead of...
What are the odds you know?
Isn't that funny?
That's crazy.
Isn't that funny?
Like,
yeah, it is cool.
The situations Texas, I'm in, though, where it's like you end up meeting people, and unfortunately for anyone who knows me, like, I don't let go of relationships. So they're stuck with me, and I'm like... I'm going to call on you for a favor at some point.
Yeah,
you can call on me for one, and
I need to get rid of a body.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I got a problem.
Yeah.
And his name is
Jake.
So
yeah,
that was fun.
Jake, I think it's time.
Yeah. Last question: how do you want to be remembered when you're gone?
I want to be remembered for levity.
Can you define that?
Depth and levity.
I, of course, know what it means.
Yeah, of course. But for the dumb people.
For the idiots out there.
Depth and levity. Levity to bring life and joy and hope and it's a lightness to people. And depth to bring meaning and purpose to people. And to let those things exist in ways that don't traditionally, maybe their paradigm or their narrative does not allow them to exist, right? It's like levity can exist in this moment, depth can exist here, and it doesn't mean you have to be serious to have depth. It doesn't mean you have to be like giggly to have levity. To gain perspective at a funeral, that you can have some levity, to be in a moment of deep meaning. We're in a situation where that is otherwise very light and whatever. So I think those two things are probably what's most important to me. I try to instill that within my kids.
That's really cool.
It's probably the coolest answer we've gotten.
Yeah.
A lot of times which they're still good answers, but I want to be remembered as a good father, good partner.
I get it. I mean, that's it probably is all part of that, right?
Yeah, that was a cool answer though.
I was just gonna say, and a great way to end this. It's always surround yourself by people that are smarter than you, and we did that today with AJ.
You guys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Good guys.
That went by so quick.
Yeah, it was like
we flew through that. That was good.
3 hours already. Imagine.
Like Joe Rogan podcast.
I'm late.
Yeah.
To everything.
To 4 appointments. AJ, thank you so much.
Hey, thank
for doing
you.
this.
Where can people find you if you want them to?
Absolutely. I will give a shameless plug to the book. Take Time to Be Brief. This is just my manifesto on communication, and my goal with it is that people will read it. I stand behind it. It's not perfect. There's no such thing. It's a prototype, but my goal is that someone will read it, enjoy it, but then put it on a shelf and then go back to it and back to it and back to it. Because someone who speaks with brevity, the goal isn't that you be brief. The goal is that you be intentional. And if you're brief, it probably means you've put in some good work to knowing who you are. And the goal is that you put in work. So ajhof.co is my website. And I tried to go ajhof.com, but it's AmericanJazzHallOfFame.com. Obviously. So AJHOF.co is me. But I took time to be brief.
Yeah.
Got rid of that M.
Yeah, who needs
it?
Nobody needs that M.
Yeah.
Nobody needs it.
We're going to cut it out.
When's the documentary come out?
2025. Don't know exactly. Probably Q3 2025.
Awesome. Roughly a year.
So, yep. About a year from now.
I'm actually so excited to watch it.
Where do you think you'll release it?
That is, we're not sure yet.
Okay.
I feel like it could be pretty big.
I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to do some fun stuff. We're plugged in with the Global Leadership Summit out of Chicago.
Wow.
And we'll do some stuff through them. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities.
Wow. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for notifications.
Happy Halloween.
You, AJ.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween. We never even addressed, like, it's Halloween. I mean, that's, total giveaway. Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Bye.